Oh, I'm here with Saruman of many colors, who appears to be either deaf or muted.
What do you mean? What's going on? Toast, I'm right here. Hello, Toast. I can hear you, dude. Okay, good. I'm here.
Okay, so we want to talk about what teams are playing today, Saruman?
Okay. I seem to have lost you, Toaster, so that's
Uh-oh.
not a good start. But yeah, no, I have you now. I'm saying I lost you when you did your introduction. But yeah, you're fine now. Great.
Okay.
What an amazing start to this cast. I love it.
Woo!
Technical difficulties. After the impeccable casting by Kurlan, who did a great job casting Smoke Adders versus 228 Death from Above, which Smoke Adders won. Kudos to Smoke Adders, showing that they still have it, especially with pilots like Mad Cat and McGraw leading their roster, and Mercstar also trying to get it done with players like Seabiscuit, who is actually turning into a very good leader, and Nuclear
Sweet.
Weapon, who's been a staple in MWO comp for a very long time. But basically, yeah. So this is going to be kind of like another Div A versus Div B match, so your mileage may vary on what to expect. Imperial is, however, definitely not looking as strong as they used to be. They basically won against Black Omen, but whether or not they won or lost is kind of debatable. You could make the argument that they didn't perform as well as they should. The drops were very close, and actually, even though Black Omen lost the match, they got more kills, 28 to Imperial's 25. So it's something to, look over. Hold on as I invite Kamichiwa.
Yep. But that being said, in this league, kills don't actually matter. It's just round wins. So yeah, maybe EMP didn't look as strong as they have in the past. They still won. So you got to give that to them at least. But on the other hand, so we talked about NA team EMP. We've got MS Crab people, Mercstar. I remember seeing a match of theirs. I don't remember who it was against last BFM, but they pulled out some kind of interesting, kind of weird crab pushes. They brought
Crab
king
deck.
crabs
Yes,
and.
crab deck. I casted that
Oh
with,
yeah, you did.
with Belmont, and we honestly didn't know how to react because it was something that you normally don't see. People with common sense, people with a common understanding of the meta, people that basically aren't, bat loony, like Mercstar has proven they are. I played with Kamichiwa. He's a very charismatic dude. He's very fun to play with. We played a couple rounds of Apex. He was pretty good in that game as well, all things considered. Got a couple of kills, got some damage. So it's not like Mercstar is lacking in talent. Currently, they're at the top of the leaderboard. As far as NA Div B goes, they share the same amount of victories with White Knight Legion, the only difference being that White Knight Legion's victories have been more decisive. Right now, White Knight Legion is leading with a total of 44 points for the division, while Mercstar is behind with 38 points. But as far as matches won goes, they're pretty much tied. Now, Mercstar could change that tiebreaker if they manage to miraculously take a game away from Imperial, and believe me, miracles are going to need to happen if Mercstar wants to beat EMP. I don't want to sugarcoat everything. The odds are definitely against them. Imperial, two-time first place champion in the MWOWC in 2016-2017, second place champion, losing out to Eon Synergy. And believe me, those games were definitely not nearly as bad as one would suggest, and right now Imperial is the front runner in NA Div A, and so far every single NA Div A match we've seen, the Div B team has lost very harshly. Lessons were learned, teams were put to their tests, and sure, teams like Evil, Clan Crossfire, which I must correct myself now is a New Zealand team, not an Australian team. I apologize to Clan Crossfire for constantly calling them Australian in previous casts, but basically, they only walked away with kills. None of them actually took a match away. So, if Mercstar does this, it'll be the upset of the century, It'll be crazy. I don't think even they expect to win a match, which is why if they do win, it'll be huge. Now, admittedly, like I said, they do have some skilled players. Prototellus is in a lot of Discords asking questions, showing screenshots, learning the game. Damocles 1, Xavier, Crimson Helix, also Vets. I believe that they were running the crab deck with Kami and BFM 6v6. Drew the Blue has also been a staple in these drops. But going back to Imperial, even though they lost against Black Omen, they still have some of the best talent in this game. Charlemagne Charlemagne himself did not come to play against Black Omen for all 5 drops, but they still close it out with a convincing win. They still have heavy league traders like Chimera and Reckless, Magician's still there, Magoat, who has shown an ability to be extremely flexible.
Yep. But I mean, all that being said, if all the Div B teams are getting 5-0'd by a Div A team, if one Div A team loses a drop and that's going to hurt them seriously. In a Div B team that manages to pick up an extra point or two, that could be a major boon at the end of the season.
Okay, so we're going to ask team leaders now to see if they can go through their ban phase again. To see if they can go through the ban phase to see what map we pull.
Yep. So in the past, River City seems to be pretty popular. Also Alpine. But we've started to see some teams opting for Terra Therma, so might see something interesting this week. Who knows? I think if you're MS, you definitely want to kind of try and keep EMP on the back foot. But that being said, EMP goes out right out the bat, bans Viridian Bog.
Definitely, and I think it's a smart ban. Viridian Bog is a very complicated map. We've said it many times before. It definitely favors brawling. Crab people going for Terra Therma, though.
Okay, so they seem, maybe they just want to fight EMP on their fair turf, I guess.
I love that EMP's changed their name for Force Stream P.
Yes.
Took it quite literally.
Yep, but I'm glad they're, playing along. But this is a slow ban. We haven't seen bans this slow for most of these things.
Yeah, I know. They've already banned one map. Let's go.
Let's go, EMP. Come on, Seleth. All right,
and it looks like they're playing River City. Excellent.
Okay, so River City saw a lot of kind of DACA brawl pushes, but who knows what we'll see. Maybe we'll see Crab Deck. But yeah, so
I'm not going to spoil anything.
All right.
I don't want to talk about what MS wants to bring to the table.
They are the crab people.
They are the crab people. We don't know. Look, all I know is that insider sources have indicated to me that we may see crabs. But I'm not going to verify. I'm not going to confirm or deny. I'm just going to throw that out there into the universe. We're going to see if they take the bait. We're going to see if crabs are on the menu. We're going to see if crabs are found in the hind parts of Imperial. Who knows?
You want to talk about this first map?
Well, the first map, Tourmaline, is it's normally a map that's about It's normally a map that's all about controlling the area. Basically, in Tourmaline, they kind of fight around the Epsilon point with trades going on from basically what a lot of people call stage, which is the basically Echo 5 area, I believe, onward to where the other team spawns. And it's all about putting down as much damage as possible for the main push to happen, which is normally over Theta, or to try and make a geared attempt to secure Epsilon. But there have been times where teams have changed their positions a little bit. They run speed capping decks. We've gone over this a lot. Isengrim pulled out a surprise win against 228 by running a speed capping deck and running around the map using the slowness of their assault lance against them, since they weren't actually able to take any fights. We've seen light fights happen at Kappa, which is the far off point away from Epsilon and Theta, which is where most of the action normally happens on Tourmaline. There's definitely a lot of strategies. Tourmaline is a very big favorite map of all the teams that play in comp, because of the fact that even though it's hot, there's a lot you can do with it, and it's a lot of fun. In the past, one of the favorite strategies was, setting up in the high Tourmaline areas to try and trade with ER large lasers. That's kind of come out of popularity since the strategy relied on mechs with jump jets and stuff, but, mechs like Grasshoppers, Hunchbacks, they've kind of fallen out the meta, so we'll see what happens there.
And we've got that big new patch this week, kind of changing up Lerms. I know some teams were kind of worried, but with all the health changes to missiles, it's a little more opaque, what's going to be the meta. Lerms still have some incredible DPS, but, maybe you just get countered by a team running AMS. I don't know.
Well, we'll see. They are locked. Match is going to drop, and we are ready to roll. Connecting and in, and we're going to try and get a nice read of the builds. Who knows? Evil tried bringing an unconventional Lerm deck to Solaris City drop 1 against the opposition they faced, which was 228. I'm not sure if it was the map or if it was excuse me, or if it was the execution that kind of ruined that Lerm deck, but that might not stop Mercstar from bringing LRMs here. LRMs definitely have got a bit weaker because AMS is stronger and LRM missile health has been substantially weakened. As a result, AMS has a higher impact on stopping LRMs. So if teams are prepared with even 1-2 AMS on a couple of their mechs, they can essentially shut LRMs down. But ATMs actually got a buff to their health, and they still do a substantial amount of damage, so we'll see what happens. Starting with Mercstar, since they're the surprise ones, Damocles 1 running a 5 UAC2s on his Night Gear standard build, medium pulse lasers from the Crabs on Crimson Helix. We're already seeing the breakout Crabs. 2 Crab 27Bs, medium pulse lasers. They're screaming, give the people what they want. James Bond running ER medium lasers on AC2s on the Crabs is not... Oy vey, a bunch of King Crab Zeros, once again, AC2s medium lasers from Prototellus. So yeah, this is a DACA laser deck featuring Crabs.
And we've got some trades going out already. EMP kind of taking this corner position with Chimera, Rick Rum, and Reckless, and Annihilators and a Blood Ass.
And already James Bond is getting ripped up at 84%. The Crabs hitboxes are working against him, down to 81%. Chimera's down 83%, so it's not like Mercstar is necessarily just sitting there standing and dying, but even still, James Bond at 77%. The slugging out's already coming out early. EMP going for also a DACA heavy deck. Those Annihilators have racks, so they're definitely going to be putting down some DPS. James Bond is already almost dead. Oh my goodness, the King Crab is just not the kind of mech that you bring to trading fights. It's a big mech, it's very easy to shoot, it is a very wide CT, it's very hard to spread damage, and we're seeing that now. James Bond's center torso, I believe, yes, it's already almost completely open. The mech is taking some serious heat, and James Bond may fall soon.
We're about to have a big confrontation here. Reckless and Drew the Blue on the corner up in what's commonly referred to as CSJ Hill. Reckless backing off. I don't know who won that, really? But Charlemagne over here on the side with his Piranha, maybe trying to backstab Drew. Drew's kind of been left hung out to dry over here. I don't know. Meanwhile, kind of the rest of MS has moved up under the hoop. Drew the Blue getting pushed by the rest of EMP.
Yep, and Drew the Blue falls. Easy kill. Definitely was able to be picked up because he was essentially alone and isolated. James Bond, 44%. He's not going to be able to keep up the fight. Damocles 1, Kamichiwa down 82, 83. King Crab 0, Prototellus 73%, but that 73% matters. Chimera brings down James Bond. James Bond fire, burning in fire, and his King Crab dying admirably. And now Reckless sinks Prototellus, and right now it looks like this game is going to comfortably go
the Crabs.
Imperial's ways. Rip the Crabs.
Charlemagne doing a little bit of harassment, pushing Damocles down off the ridge in his Night Gear. Heigl really looks like hasn't done much of anything. Now we've got a fight up on stage. Crimson Helix engaging the Magician and McGoat.
Delta's down 60% as well. Looks like he took some serious hit in his Mad Dog 2C. Funny enough, he is not in his traditional light, so I guess Imperial's definitely testing the waters with some new decks. McGoat taking a linebacker, kind of filling that mixed light role. Xavier and Crimson Helix are essentially dead at this point, 44 and 53 respectively, both brought down. Kimichiwa, unfortunately, will have to commit seppuku, as he is currently getting wrecked by the ballista fire coming in from Reckless, and he is gone. All that's left is Heigl, and there's not much he can do.
Just one crab left from Mercstar. Heigl, I don't know, he didn't seem to engage. He's maybe trying to hold Charlemagne off on this flank, but all the rest of his team's dead. Maybe he can kill the Piranha, maybe not.
Mercstar is right. Crab chowder on the menu. They were carved up in the meat grinder in the worst way possible. EMP walks away with a definitive win, 8-0.
So tanking a ton of damage in his Marauder 2C. That's kind of, I guess, the strength of that mech. It loses side torsos over CT, so you lose one side, kind of protect the other, and they have to go through most of your armor before you're dead.
And I believe the biggest advantage to that is the fact that, when you are twisting your mech, if you twist it to the side that's already blown up, you're only taking half damage from that side.
Yep, good old damage transfer reduction.
Gotta love it. Definitely one of the bright spots, I believe, actually, in PGI's development of this game. There's no reason that you should be taking full damage with a side that's had, remnants of the blown up side. Obviously, shards and pieces are still going to be there. You blow off the treads of an M1 Abrams, the treads just don't disappear. That side of the tank isn't just gone, so it's obviously still armor that's able to eat damage. So damage transfer rules make sense. Definitely one of the better parts of this game, in my opinion, at least. And now we're going into Drop 2, which I believe is correct.
Drop 2 is Caustic Valley. Yes, I think you cut out there. What?
Sorry about that. Caustic Valley domination. I said it's Caustic Valley, correct, and you have corrected me.
Yeah, so looking at these damage numbers, oh, those poor king crabs. James Bomb, even despite, kind of getting hung out in the open, being traded upon by 3 EMP mechs, still manages to pull out nearly 400 damage. I think there's those crabs kind of getting stacked up and kind of crowded under the hoop. It was a crab trap.
They were stuck in essentially like a lobster cage, except maybe a crab cage in this variation.
Yeah.
And the biggest loser in this is that the king crabs hitboxes just don't work. It's way too wide and it's way too easy to shoot. It's simple as that. Like, I understand Mercstar wanted to bring the crabs, kind of taking a gladiator approach. Are you not entertained? But even still, it's kind of sad, because maybe trying with a better deck, they could have done better, because in all honesty, the trades weren't that bad. James Bomb was keeping up with Chimera, at least.
Wow.
At the beginning of the match, Chimera was at 65% to James Bomb's 60 before he was getting focused a bit too much by the other team. So it's not like the trades were necessarily terrible at the beginning. If Mercstar was in better mix, I feel like they could have potentially at least put themselves in a better position to walk away with more kills, and who knows, maybe have a better chance at winning the match.
Well, I will say, I think even if Chimera was keeping up, or James Bomb was keeping up damage-wise, I think Chimera did a much better job of kind of spreading the damage. He lives at 47% at the end of the match and pulls over 1k damage, far out damaging even his own teammates. It's just, I think the nature of those hitboxes, like you said, King Crab can't quite compete with the Annihilator, even though I believe at this point the King Crab might have better armor and health values than Annihilator. But anyways, on to Caustic Valley.
While they're getting ready, do we want to perform a giveaway real quick?
Which I believe we have some. We have some of those today.
We have a giveaway. This is not a drill, people. We have a giveaway.
I restarted my computer, opened everything except the giveaway tool. Who on me? But it's started up now. So first giveaway is going to be for a mech bay provided by the wonderful admins here at MOR 8.
Yep, let's give a shout out to Live, Just Call Me Ash, and Krasnopesky, who make everything happen.
Alright, first thing I'm going to do, kick out Moobot, kick out Saruman.
No, don't kick out Saruman.
Yeah, I'll let Unbreakable Raid stay in.
Really? You're going to let Unbreakable stay in, but you're going to kick out Saruman? Some co-caster you are. You...
Alright, let's see. Whoa! Alright, I'm sorry to everyone I just deafened. I will fix that. Rip your eardrums. TK87 MWO, congratulations. Please whisper either myself or Saruman. We'll get you your mech bay code.
I would whisper Toast rather than myself, because Toast is the one that actually has the mech bay codes. But if you message me, I will be more than happy to bug Toast. It is my specialty.
Okay, so next map. Caustic Valley, you still there, Saruman?
I am still there. Can you hear me? I've been talking for the past couple of minutes. Please tell me you can hear me, Toaster. Oh, what? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Haha.
Okay, this is, oh my goodness, this is backfiring
Oh
amazingly. But
yes.
all right, let's take a quick breather and move over to a new voice server. Is that okay? Can we do that?
That wasn't the voice server. It was my fault. We can stay
Okay,
here.
well then let's stay here where we're at, comfortably on the couch of Dropship 5,
All right. So
which is where
Caustic
both of us came
Valley
from.
domination. What do you know
All
about
right,
this
so
map?
Caustic Valley domination, it's going to be a lot of fun. Generally, this is all about fighting on the edges of the circle, along with some pushes thrown in for good measure. Now, Team 2 generally has the better side because of the fact that these Tourmalines kind of favor them more rather than the Tourmalines here for Team 1. Now, we have seen a lot of rotation strategies on this map. This is kind of the infamous NASCAR map, with Team 1 normally rotating around Echo 5 rather than the Delta 3 side, which is kind of a no bueno. Delta 3 has a lot of converging Tourmalines here for Team 2 to kind of shoot out at, which could put the other mechs in a terrible position. And it also goes without saying that it's also a terrible place for Lerms. Now, Team 1 on this map, when it was Conquest, a general strategy that was actually pretty valid was that they'd have a lot of high range mechs set up in the back along these areas, kind of on these hills, to take position to shoot down on the enemy. And I actually got the positions reversed because I'm not used to seeing the map this way. But, yeah, basically Team 2 sets up on these hills or on these hills, and as a result, rotations into this area in particular I'm referring to is more dangerous. I apologize. Still trying to get used to this new map strat that people have kindly set up because the MRBC one is down. But anyway, a common strat in the back in the old days when this map was Conquest used to be the teams would kind of set up on the back with long range mechs in these positions to kind of put some pain down on the circle and trade with mechs over at Delta 4 and Delta 5, which is where Team 2 would hang out. But now it seems like this map has kind of been an infamous NASCAR map. You see a lot of teams rotating, and you kind
Yep.
of definitely even see some up the gut pushes. Now, these are normally initiated by Team 2 because the lanes for pushing are kind of a little bit more direct on their side. But pushing in this cold area is still considered no bueno. No bueno at all, because it's super hot in here. But even still, if a team wants to pull off a Hail Mary Aaron Rodgers style for the NFL people in the chat, it's actually a good way to do it because it can kind of offset the team, especially since teams are normally spread out along this edge. So if you can kind of push through the gut and kind of get in an area such as that, hit a side, get a mech kill or two, you could put yourself on top, even though the push is very risky because it's open terrain, it's a lot of high heat, and it's generally high risk, high reward scenario.
Yeah, the kind of NASCAR meta kind of reminds me of, like, the meta of old where you had Dragon Slayers and big engine stomp meta is kind of what people referred to it as. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether these teams decide to brawl or what they decide to do. I think
And right now, both teams are ready and launching. I'm sorry, Toaster, finish your thought. I apologize.
I think we saw. I didn't see the whole previous match with SA versus. Oh my god, I can't. My mind's blanking.
SA versus 228th Death from Above. How dare you
Yes,
forget
SA
them?
versus 228 Death from Above. There was a bit of brawling going on there. I think one team got caught out at one point by a brawl deck, but we'll see.
Well, it's going to be hard for Mercstar to catch EMP out because EMP have kind of mastered the art of positioning, and as an experienced comp team, they definitely have taken a lot of advantage on this map. But hey, Mercstar could very well come in with not a Lerm deck, because missiles are banned, obviously,
No
but they could come
lock-ons.
in. Yes, exactly. No lock-ons, but they could come in with a speed brawl deck that could kind of catch them off guard. Another mech that's kind of popular on this map is lights with flamers, because of the fact that the map is so hot that those kinds of mechs could just shut down mechs indefinitely. And I'm wondering if that's what Imperial's going to bring, since Stealth was actually the one that kind of started that. But right now it doesn't look like that. He brought the Piranha Cypher, 6 machine guns, and a whole boatload of micro pulsators.
Uh-oh. Did we forget to switch it today?
We did forget to switch it today. It's night. Fucking, oh man. All right.
All right. Well, let's have them play it out. If they want to replay it, we'll let them replay it, I think.
Yes.
If
Okay.
Unless if they are having some big issues, they can say something now and we can stop it. But otherwise, I think we're going. Anyways, so on the side of Mercstar, we got a bunch of bushwhackers, 2x2s and a P2, some urban mechs, 2 R60Ls and a K9 for their hero mech, and a Dragon 5N and a Rifleman 5D. What's on that Rifleman and bushwhackers?
What's on the riflemen and the bushwhackers, I believe, was DACA the last I checked. Yes, it's LB-10s and medium lasers, so it definitely seems like, at least on the bushwhackers, it's LB-10s and medium lasers. Rifleman has medium pulse lasers, so it's definitely medium range. Not necessarily speed brawl, but brawl nonetheless. Something that we might see Mercstar try and use to offset to 228 Imperial. But yeah, right now Leckless is creeping up in the linebacker. Interesting choice because of the fact that it's going to be fairly hot. It's a hot map. Xavier ate a huge alpha. Damocles won.
Damocles off by himself.
Yeah, this is not good right now. Damocles isolated himself, and he's currently melting under the huge amount of pain brought on by Imperial, and he's already dead, pretty much. 22%, completely down. Look at him taking those 17%. What a champ right there. Xavier looks like he's going to be focused down by Rick Rom and McGoat, who wisely brought flamers. Imperial incorporating some flamers in all their deck. Crimson Helix down 73%. Already lost a side and currently struggling very much under the hail of gunfire. Heigl also trying to get some trades out on Radek, bring them down to 67%, but nothing happens there. Crimson Helix is about to go down. Imperial's going for the jugular on this one. Old school Cav trying to stab off rapid amounts of machine gun fire, but to no avail. Xavier getting pushed down by Rick Rom, shoving his bushwhacker into the Urban Mech's hidey hole. Heigl taking it deep by Charlemagne right now. Magician also pushing up in the Nova, and it looks like it's going to be a clean sweep. Imperial bringing some brawl of their own with a mixture of flamers to bring the match to a speedy conclusion.
Yeah, it was an interesting deck by Imperial. Kind of surprising, much hotter deck, I think, with those Novas and laser linebackers, but to be getting the job done. Selth and Rick Rom kind of holding the upper edge of this Caldera while they were the rest of their main body pushed, and now Protellus, last one to go down for MS. And oh no, never mind. Heigl still alive in the Dragon 5N.
He wasn't getting focused because they blew his arm off.
Oh, he has been disarmed.
Yep, he was disarmed. Pun intended. Imperial walking away with the win. Very commanding win. Very quick game. Evidence of the coordination you'd see from a top-tier team. Damage numbers, I have a feeling, are going to be spread across the board, but we'll see them for ourselves. However, we do owe them the pleasure of asking them for a redrop, owe them the responsibility of asking for a redrop, because I potatoed. However, looking at the damage numbers, Reckless 674, Radek 507. The Lights have the damage pretty spread out. Charlemagne and the Vulcan 304. Celt leading the pack in the Light Lance 306. McGoat doing 202. But generally, damage is pretty well spread outside Reckless and Radek, who really did work. Meanwhile, Mercstar kind of got completely focused out. A lot of their players did less than sub 200 damage. Kamichiwa leading the way, 311 in his Urban Mech 60L. But at the end, it just wasn't enough DPS, and the push with EMP was very coordinated, and the receive from Mercstar was very uncoordinated.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like Mercstar needed to just kind of get in there with their, I think probably more heat efficient mechs and focus more on getting a good focus with their brawl.
But we're asking now to see if the teams want to redrop. That'll mostly be up to Mercstar. I don't think that it really would make that much of a big deal, mainly because actually Caustic Valley is the kind of map where you don't run night vision at all. You run heat vision because of the fact that it's so hot that you can see mechs. So in either way, not trying to defend my mistake, it was definitely a screw up, but even still, much that in my opinion would make much of an.
And it looks like they're fine with it. Trying to just remember for later. But now we're going to switch sides. So, I don't know, domination on this map. I don't think sides really are going to matter too much. Maybe if you try and do a hold-off brawl. But I think if you try and trade, there's no real way to keep mechs out of the circle on this map. There's always going to be some spot where you can tuck a light in.
Mm-hmm. And also at the same time, the map just favors itself to brawl and kind of trades. It favors itself to fast movement. It would have favored itself to missiles if missiles were allowed, but the way things are going with how AMS works, with how LRMs have kind of been buffed and nerfed at the same time, and how ATMs are still pretty strong, like it feels like that we still see some variation of missiles, but yeah, and overall, I don't think the decks are going to change much, and I think Imperial just wants to bring these to a swift and speedy conclusion.
Well, Imperial's out of all their Novas, I believe, and MS has no Bushwhacker, so they're going to change some. Probably still remain Brawl decks, but see what they kind of switch things up for. I kind of like the 3 of 1 chassis over all your matches rule. It keeps things kind of different. You don't see a lot of mirror matches as far as drop decks go. Teams tend to prioritize things differently, so we'll see. You want to head over to the map strat and maybe talk a little bit about what happened. It was kind of a clear-cut brawl with, I think, some MS guy, or at least one MS player getting caught out early, but we can still talk about it
Yes, pretty
nonetheless.
much. The that's what it came down to. The MS player that was caught out, I believe he was caught out at the tail end of Echo 5, pretty much. Basically right in, I would say either Echo 5 or Delta 5. It was on the edge of the tourmaline coordinates.
I believe we were in Delta 3, Delta 4, Echo 3. I believe we were that side of the map. EMP.
Okay, so I believe then it was Delta 4, since EMP definitely hard pushed into Mercstar's side of the map. Basically what happened was that much of Mercstar's main body was kind of in this area right here, and they had one mech out here that kind of got focused. Meanwhile, Imperial was pushing with a very strong, well-spread line going in this direction, going in on that singular mech that unfortunately isolated itself, and then from there it pretty much evolved into the fact that Mercstar had a numbers disadvantage going into a brawl match, which is not something that is ideal.
Yeah, and 55 tons nonetheless. I mean, their deck is pretty evenly distributed, but still a lot of tonnage for what they brought. And it was kind of interesting to see Seleth and Rickrom. They kind of played the upper edge of the Caldera while the rest of EMP pushed around. It wasn't a huge split, but it was kind of an interesting. It kept Mercstar from really, I think, being able to or wanting to dive into either the main body of EMP or just NASCAR around and chase Seleth and Rickrom.
Well, I think the entire idea was that when you want to brawl, you want to basically spread your lines around. If you brawl up into a big brawl, it'll be very
blocking shots to teammates, tripping over each other, maybe some team damage.
Exactly, unnecessarily chaotic. That is what I was referring to. It's also kind of hard to focus targets because of those lines getting blocked and because of how Caustic works. Caustic, you can't really push into a block because of the fact that the tourmalines around the site of the main Caustic crater block those lines like that.
Yeah,
so you kind of have to push in lanes.
It's definitely very different.
The best way to do that is to run a spread line, because if you push as a giant ball essentially and just push in one hard-coded spot, like just push as one giant ball in one spot, then your team's going to get hamstrung. It's going to be basically pushing as a Congo line, and that's extremely unfavorable when you're trying to get something done. As a matter of fact, if they pushed as one giant ball, it would have favored Mercstar, because then they would have had a better job. They would have had an easier job of focusing out targets and trying to get the win over Imperial.
Yep. And I think, I don't know, it's definitely kind of interesting. We have the new maps this week. It's interesting what you said about the tourmalines, because that's definitely something that's kind of different with this newer or well, not very new at this point, but the newer Caustic Valley. All those tourmalines, as you said, they kind of make things a lot more choke pointing around the edge. Got hard. It's very hard to kind of get up and over those if you don't have jump jets, and I think that might have been an issue that Mercstar was having. They might have wanted to go into the center, but those bushwhackers being landlocked can have a hard time getting over the terrain. It's not impossible, but it definitely can trip you up.
It kind of makes you. It kind of makes me, at least, miss old Caustic, where you can kind of just mosey on over the main Caustic tourmaline somewhat, kind of just will your heavy mech over those hills, because they weren't exactly inclined, whereas the tourmalines on this new Caustic are kind of like giant studding crags that pop out of the earth and essentially inhibit, hinder brawl movement.
Yeah, it's definitely, the old one's definitely a little more conducive to NASCAR, though, so I don't miss that aspect of it. Looks like MS is ready. We're waiting on EMP. Seleth's ready, so let's get in there.
Yep, we are launching now. So the first Caustic Valley match was kind of broken down easily, and that's mainly because of the strength of brawling on that map, the strength of pushes, and the fact that LRMs and ATMs are banned, and in these new metas, those are kind of the weapons that are used to stymie pushes. But we'll see what happens, and we'll see what Mercstar brings to kind of mix it up and see if they can try and throw a wrench into Imperial's plans, throw them off their back foot.
Yep. And I do wonder, I think Daka is good, but I wonder if EMP may be trying to save some of their maps or Daka mechs for later. We saw those being really popular and winning pretty handily on River City with Black Omen versus.
Well, with the fact that PPCs are kind of getting slow nerfs and the fact that lasers have also been getting slowly nerfed, it definitely is bringing Daka back into the fold. And in all honesty, I couldn't be more excited since Daka pushes were some of the most fun to play with and play around.
Yeah, for sure. The high DPS is fun.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Okay, so what do we got?
What we got is Prototellus in a flea with 4 small lasers, 2 medium pulse lasers, and then after that we have the rest of Mercstar kind of following suit with a mix of lasers and Daka. Drew the Blue bringing Ultra AC5s and an AC10 on his night gear. Kamichiwa, 2 ER PPCs, Hunchback 2CA. Gonna try and bring some range to lock down the center. James bombed, getting bombed tonight with a load of SRM4s that looks like 8 launchers to be precise. Damocles, Gauss rifles, ER medium lasers. So you kind of have a mix of laser Daka, ballistics, SRMs. Mercstar's bringing the entirety of the pack. Celt once again bringing that Piranha Cypher, pretty strong. And the rest of EMP looks like they're also running a combination of Daka, Magician running ER smalls on the Nova Prime for Brawl, Magoat running machine guns, heavy small lasers. Celt already went through Celt. SRMs being brought by Rick Rom. Charlemagne bringing ER smalls and machine guns on his mech. Radic bringing small pulse lasers. Mechless also bringing medium pulse lasers. And Imminent being the only person right now on EMP with a true Daka setup, with basically EMP focusing on speed brawl once again. So it looks like EMP's going to try and push things in, but Mercstar isn't going to give them the chance to do that. They're kind of spreading their mechs out with the same old strategy that I previously mentioned, setting up on these mountains far off on the range against Caustic, hoping that Imperial will kind of push them and use the distance and the power of their ranged weapons to put some damage on Imperial, hopefully get a mech kill or 2 before they can close the gap.
Yeah, I must have been mistaken. EMP must have. I hope they've checked their decks properly. They still have 1 Nova left, and it was interesting to see Mercstar bring in, I think, one of Bowser's favorite mechs, the Gaussian Lasers Warhammer 6R. And interesting choice. And Drew the Blue up here with his night gear with looks like a 10 and 3 5s, so going the Daka route. It's going to be interesting to see, Mercstar's got to play this carefully, these guys up in the Torm lanes. This is where you want them to be, but you also don't want them to get picked before your Overwatch mechs can do anything.
And right now, Mercstar's on the good swerve right now as far as trades go. Imminent down 77%, taking some big, heavy hits from Mercstar. And right now, things are not looking good for Imperial. Imminent is at 67%. He's been eating some serious PPC shots from Mercstar. Artie's getting dropped down. I think he also took some artillery/airstrike damage from Mercstar. So right now, Imminent is currently on his back foot. Seeing his damage counter, it looks like his mech's definitely eating some punishment in the arms, but overall, his shoulders, center torso, they're not close to opening yet, but it is something. And look at the strike!
Magoat getting annihilated, 50% in his mislinks. Looks like he's lost 1 arm. He's still got another one. EMP, I don't know, are they committed or not at this point?
They have to be committed at this point. If they allow Mercstar to get the trades, it's going to be over.
Radic goes down.
By Xavier. Magician, however, recovers by killing James Bond. Crimson Helix down 46%. Look at this. And Mercstar starting to take away some mechs, and the percentages don't exactly favor Imperial. However, Crimson Helix does go down. Xavier and Prototellus are currently fleeing the scene. Mercstar needs to put down some range fire quickly. The push is on, and Imperial looks like they're going to have the circle covered with the rest of Mercstar's lights being toast. Wolfhound currently being finished. Xavier does not look good. Charlemagne, however, eats it. That's definitely not going to look good in the AAR session. Prototellus finishing off Reckless, who's been taking a lot of damage, 45%. The Goat's still at 34. Imminent finishes off Xavier, but Reckless might currently be kicking the bucket on this one.
This is a close match. The damage definitely favors Mercstar. They just got to finish a couple of these kills. Magoat 32.
It's not gonna matter. Prototellus needs to get back to the circle, and it looks like he is. He's trying to fight Magoat. He should have the advantage since Magoat's is down 32%. Imminent down 54. Look at this. Oh my goodness. This is the kind of match we've been seeing. Stealth takes down Kamichiwa, and right now it looks like the brawl is on the range, so things are definitely not favoring Mercstar. Cell takes down Drew the Blue. Damocles 1 takes down Rick Rom. Look at the percentages on Imperial. Every single one of their mechs is almost dead. It's insane.
Can they finish Celith? Celith's playing a dangerous game, gets picked. Imminent, oh my gosh, this is so close.
Prototellus is still alive. He's in the circle. He's counting it down. Mercstar is 30 seconds. The EMP is 21. McGoat trying to go and recover. Oh my goodness, this could be the upset we wanted to see. Look at this. Oh, Magician takes down Pite, though. It's currently 2 mechs. Damocles 1 in his Warhammer 6Rs. The last mech alive with Prototellus staying alive in his Flea. This might have to be a carry by Prototellus right now, but it's the Flea. It doesn't have a lot of armor.
Damocles goes down, so it's just the Flea left, but he's got very, very hurt mechs on the side of Imperial. Maybe he can clean up a few of these kills. He needs to maybe try and get Magoat before Magoat gets back up. But I don't know.
Intelligently shielding his mech, but this is so close! Look at these percentages! Magician 28%, Magoat Mixed Link C at 30, Imminent 33! This could be the upset we've been waiting for right now. And Imperial needs to get their stuff together, group up, and take down this Mislinks as one coordinated group. If they don't, they're going to be in big trouble since the Mislinks is, I mean, not the Mislinks, the Flea is perfect for this kind of cleanup. It's just up to Prototellus to actually do it. Uh-oh, Prototellus isn't playing this smart, though. He's running between the 2 mechs, Imminent, Magoat.
Oh, and he gets legged!
Yep, it's over. What?
Oh.
Oh, that was so close. Ah, GG. I'm not gonna lie, I was holding my breath there for a second.
Magoat was a hair away from losing all of his weapons. Imminent down to 1 Ultra 10.
Magoat might have not done a lot of damage, but he was the MVP, making sure that EMP did not lose the circle at 106 damage. Kudos to Magoat. Magician 428, Celt 341, Rickrom 169, not doing a lot. Radic is one of the first to die. Charlemagne follows, so their damage is not good. 190 to 135, 262 for Reckless. Imminent 487 leading the charge against Imperial's damage. Look at Damocles 1 though! In Bowser's mech, almost 900 damage! Almost carrying Mercstar to victory. Look at that. And Prototellus, admirable game in his Flea, 418. Those two, along with Xavier and Drew the Blue Kamichiwa, oh, they almost carried this match. This would have been the first match where a Div B team wins against a Div A team. So close!
And those percentages, too. I'm looking at the Red M scoreboard right now. Magician at 21%. I spectated him briefly. He had no armor on his CT, his remaining side torso, or his remaining arm. Magoat was, a tick of damage away from losing his one arm that had all his weapons and Imminent, halved. So that was so incredibly close. I think the Flea maybe could have played it a little better at the end. Try and, I don't know, what's the word? Kite things out and...
Playing it a little better is like, yes, Magoat definitely just said in chat, couldn't do a lot of damage because he ate a bad airstrike, and that couldn't be any truer. Definitely very unfortunate for Magoat, but even still, I would argue that he was definitely the MVP, since he made sure that the circle didn't get lost to Prototellus, checking it constantly.
Yeah, gotta watch that timer, but good awareness on his part, and on Prototellus, too. He almost single-handedly won that regardless of kills or damage.
But even still, the biggest problem was that it felt like Prototellus was kind of married to the circle when he still had 20 seconds. He wasn't willing to bob in and out of it or try and use his mobility to gain any advantage or position on the mechs involved. So, as a result, he unfortunately had a very good hand that he didn't play that well. To use a poker reference, he kind of had a full house but decided to fold earlier than he should have. So, as it stands, just very unfortunate, but it was just so close. And Prototellus just played it a little more, would I say daring is the word? Yes, I could say daring. A little more daring if he was willing to kind of go in and out of the circle, a little more kind of bob, use his mobility to catch mechs out and just focus his fire a little better. Mercstar could have been the first Div B team to walk away with a win.
Yeah,
that would have been awesome.
Mercstar definitely showing why they're, at the top of Div B right now with White Knight Legion. But we want to head over to the map strat, talk about what we saw, talk about where the Warhammer Night Gear, how they position themselves. They position themselves incredibly well. I think they received that EMP push great. Fortunately, the Arctic Wolves got picked a little early, I think, but overall, a great performance.
Essentially what happened was that Mercstar was setting up on these hills over here, as I previously speculated at the beginning of the drop, and basically had mechs occupying these range positions here. Meanwhile, they kind of had their light lances occupying Echo 4, Echo 5. Imperial, running their speed brawl deck, just wanted to push their stuff in, and it would have been extreme, and it seemed like it was effective at first glance, but the strikes dropped by Mercstar, along with the precision fire eating up Imminence percentages very early on, caused the brawl push from Imperial to kind of be halted a little bit and allowed Mercstar to get some chance to lay down some shots, put down some covering fire. Their light lance got eliminated early, but the most important part of the light lance remained, which was Prototellus in his tiny little flea, occupying these little crevices in the circle. It was so adorable to watch. I mean, it was incredible. Just hiding here, waiting for the opportunities, ticking down the circle. Admittedly, Imperial didn't really have an option to pull back because they really hard engaged the light lance here at Echo 4, and they were already in the kill zone from these mechs. If they tried to run back to safely cap the circle, then they probably would have taken more damage, and the Overwatch mechs would have been much healthier for the initial push that would have been necessary for them. Excuse me. For Mercstar's mechs to push Imperial's deck in order to essentially win the game. Yep. But they didn't do that. They kind of hard committed, which I think actually was the smartest play. I just think that Imperial executed it too long. It also didn't help that once again their lights kind of got picked up a little bit. McGoat ate a very bad strike, but even still Charlemagne just kind of got isolated out in that brawl and died. Selth also kind of performed well, but at the same time didn't conserve his armor enough. Imperial's lights needed to stay alive in that situation since the circle was what was ticking, and I'm also guessing that scouting might not have been at its best because even though they saw the initial range trade, they took a while to actually push it, and at the same time they also didn't find the flea and kill it early to give EMP the viable tactic of just kind of sitting back at the circle.
Yeah, I do think MS their light lance did a very good job of harassing while being covered by Overwatch. I think EMP maybe felt forced at some point maybe to push when they didn't quite want to. Xavier was working the far side in Echo 5, I believe, with his Wolfhound, getting some good shots on EMP. Now, we saw Imminent taking a lot of damage early in his Summoner, and that could have come into play, almost did come into play late in the game.
It did. It felt like it basically felt like that Mercstar was trying to force trades too much with Imperial. They were definitely focusing down the Summoner. Maybe they should have spread the damage a little bit more. But even still, we're on to the next match, which is River City. This is set today. It is not random this time.
It is set today, yes, I can confirm.
But I am excited. I want to see where this goes.
Yeah, it's also interesting seeing that Summoner. Dual UAC 10 is not a mech I'd previously really known about, but EMP definitely favoring it, these past couple of matches. But we'll see. Will we see another DACA push on this map? We have lock-ons allowed now, and we've got all the LERM and ATM changes, so who knows?
Yes, and I will say that if Mercstar wants to bring a Hail Mary, they can do it now. I mean, they brought a Hail Mary technically against Imperial. I don't think Imperial was expecting range trades from Mercstar's side, especially since lower div teams tend to favor brawl pushes more. But I'm excited to see what they bring, and I'm excited to see what they do. They almost beat EMP! That is a huge deal! And EMP is showing their cracks big time. Their lights are definitely underperforming right now. Selth is doing some stuff right now, but Charlemagne is just not living up to what he's done in the WC or the impressive resume he used to have. He's kind of playing like a shell of his former self, and right now Mercstar is just wanting to take their momentum of almost winning a match against a Div A team into this drop.
Alright, so let's see. Over here on the side of Mercstar, what do we got? We got a Javelin 11A, Wolfhound 2R. I'd imagine those are laser boats. Probably E needs on the Javelin and Pulse on the Wolfhound. Damocles in his patented Warhammer 6R. I don't know, Bowser's going to have to fight for, name that mech after. And then we've got Mad Cat B and a Warhawk Prime and a Hunchback 2CA taking real high position here. Looks like, dual PPCs on the Hunchback 2CA. Don't see that mech too much anymore, at least not with PPCs.
Oh, right now, Wait, what is? I wanted to read off the builds. DACA PPCs from Imperial's side, but it looks like there's going to be an early
Yeah.
confrontation over here at Theta.
Prototellus taking some burns on Theta. Ugh. Down 87% for free from EMP, but he got out of there at least.
McGoat, though, ate some bad PPCs, Alphas. He's already down 89%. Even though they capped the Theta point and put Mercstar on their back foot, that was still some very impressive shooting from Mercstar's end. Although Charlemagne and McGoat wisely rotating in and out. They've capped the point at Theta. They need to GTFO, but McGoat is not in the best shape at 78%. And it'll be interesting to see how that goes forward. Imperial's trading mechs are finally in position at the upper city. Meanwhile, Mercstar has their mechs traded in... they have their mechs spread out in a trading formation all around Starport, covering that Gamma point, but an airstrike drops. Doesn't look like it does a lot of damage. Kamichiwa Pyth are kind of trading separately, eating a lot of damage from the power that is Reckless, Rickrom, Mighty Rant, and Magician. Magician sitting all the way in the back with his ER PPCs, pouring the PPC rain down, doing some pretty good trades. Strikes are not connecting, though, and even though damage is being done on both sides, it does not look like it's favoring Mercstar. They're just trading independently, and that's not what you want to do against a team like EMP.
Yep, and, well, I was going to say maybe EMP's making a move here over on the side, but I'm not really sure.
I'm not sure either, since right now it looks like it's just a tap dance Celt using those ER medium lasers on the Javelin 11A to do some damage. McGoat
getting aggressive.
Manning up right now. He's eating some shots from Old School Cab, Protocella, Xavier. They see the spot. McGoat eating damage, 62%, but he's tanking. That's exactly what they want. Charlemagne and Celt look like they're starting to move in, and meanwhile, while all this is happening, the trades have slowed down between Starport and between Upper City, with Damocles 1 paying more attention to that southern tower side to give fire support. Celt and McGoat, however, eating too much damage. And where's Charlemagne? He's not putting down the damage he needs to, but now it's happening.
Xavier goes down.
Bringing in the kill. That's what I like to see. Right now, the Light Lance finally is not coming out on top, but McGoat's still 49%. This is still not looking amazing for EMP. The other lights on Mercstar a little more healthy, but it looks like they're going to start pulling out. Charlemagne Celt finally coming out with those trades. Old School Cab gets legged, and he gets neutralized. There we go.
Yeah, I think Mercstar might have wanted to get out of there.
Pull out, yeah.
James the Bomb, he kind of came down in his Mad Cat to help him, but they Mercstar's lights didn't quite get out of there. Now Protolus, he's on his own for capping the rest of this game, basically. McGoat at 40.
Manning up, though, trying to trade alone. But what's going on with McGoat? Still 47%. The engagements are still on. Damocles putting down some damage. Kills McGoat. Good kill.
Looks like Mercstar's rotated not only the Mad Cat, but the Warhammer 6R down here to kind of fend off these lights.
And the heavy body at the top of the map pushes out from Upper City. Magician, Reckless, Mighty Rant, Rick Crom are saying, enough of this, let's finish it. Kamichiwa down to 47%. Imminent taking down Prototellus, helping his Light Lance out, landing a perfectly placed shot. James bombed and Damocles 1 can't get clear trading lanes, so they're starting to pull out. And Starport is looking terrible right now. Kamichiwa is just eating it. Warrior Prime goes down. Kamichiwa out for the count, dying honorably on his samurai sword. Drew the Blue is gonna follow soon.
Yeah, this fight does not look good for Drew. Now Pith, last one left. He's either gonna have to get out of there or make a brilliant final stand. What's going on with these lights down here? Damocles and James Bomb still kind of chasing Imminent and Celt around. Charlemagne's still alive too. It looks like, I would guess EMP saw that, you know, there's so many heavy mechs for MS down in the lower city. That's what kind of cued their push. Pith down to 60%. Looks like he's about to get jumped.
Good communication it's worth having, because right as the Imperial Lance was kind of taking a lot of pressure, their lights immediately signaled to their heavies, guys, get in there, and that's exactly what they did. Excellent communication from Imperial. Meanwhile, Mercstar unfortunately struggled in the city. James bombed, getting bombed to death right now. 38%, he's down. Reckless takes down Pyth. At the same time, all that's left is Damocles 1 in what you're trying to say is his trademarked Warhammer, which I'm almost certain Bowser may fight you for.
Celt just kind of holding the attention of Damocles. Damocles can't afford to give him his back, but he also can't afford not to, because there come the EMP assaults. overall, GG. Very hurt mechs on the side of Imperial, just doing a great job of kind of rotating things out, knowing when to push when MS, I think, maybe overcommitted after their lights got ganked on Kappa.
And now, after Imperial took some unfortunate bunting to at the after Imperial's Light Lance does not perform well in the first drop, they managed to shell it out in this one. MVPs.
Yeah, Charlemagne's going to be
well
angry
done.
with you. But overall, pretty good damage spread on the side of Imperial. Honestly, on the side of both teams, Xavier and Old School Cav and their Wolfhound and Javelin maybe getting picked a little bit early, eating some bad trades. Protolis and that Flea, yikes, 61 damage. But I'll forgive him for it based on his performance the last match.
Yes, and the MVP definitely goes to the Light Lance. Charlemagne manages to pick it up, starting to make his presence known again. Celt as well, however, doing all the damage with his ER Medium Laser Javelin 1A. And shout out to Reckless, Mighty Rant, Magician. They did not hesitate when they were called upon. Very good match for Imperial. Back to form, definitely. Mercstar, unfortunately, loses. And now we're on to Drop 5.
All right, drop 5. So this time, EMP will have Starport probably opt for trading kind of DACA mechs again. It seems like that's the go-to strategy with balance these days. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if any team tries to kind of change it up. It does seem like, Kappa on this map always a hotspot for light activity. So I think you could be warranted to try and sneak a streak mech over there. Maybe try and catch the other team's mechs out. Who knows? Hello?
You're right. And I think that we're going to see more DACA pushes over from basically Imperial side. I think they're going to stick to the tried and true strategies of just, constantly moving on and on with the DACA, rolling through the drop, trying to take down the kills where necessary, and kind of just bring the match to a quick conclusion. It's drop 5, Mercstar. Any momentum they had from drop 3 has kind of been quashed, especially in the Light Lance, where Charlemagne and Cell definitely did work, but more importantly, Reckless, Mighty Rant, Magician, they taught Mercstar how to trade. The thing about Mercstar's trade was that it was disjointed, to say it simply. It was just simply disjointed.
Yeah, you definitely saw that, I think, towards the end. Mercstar's Annihilator 2A drew the blue. He was quite fresh where Kamichio was like already read CT, I believe, and ready to go down. I think maybe the Annihilator needed to step up, kind of trade a little bit more. It's definitely hard to do in that Annihilator from those ranges with how slow it is, but I got to kind of rotate your traders better. Kamichio putting up a brave fight, but and it was for naught.
Definitely, and you can't expect to win a 4v1 against a Div A team. You just can't. At that point, Kamichio would have had to download aimbots in order to make that situation work. Kudos to him, though. He was trying to hold the line while the rest of the team tried to basically clean up the Light Lance. But at the end of the day, it just didn't work out. And it just goes to show that, at the end of that Mercstar needed help down there, but the help kind of came slowly. It drizzled in. But at the same time, they weren't able to win their trades up top at Starport. So it was kind of like a catch-22. They really couldn't do anything. And unfortunately, it's very sad, but at the end of the day, Xavier, Prototellus, they got caught out. You can't do that in a light mech, especially in 1v1 light fights where you have to preserve your mech. You just can't do that. And Charlemagne and Celt adequately punished them for it. It comes down to kind of a difference between what Prototellus should have done last drop and drop 3, where he should have taken some more risks to get some more kills on certain mechs. This time, he didn't take enough. He didn't kind of take enough risks where he made stupid decisions instead of making calculated risks, and it turned out to bite him in the rear end. It turned out to bite the entirety of Mercstar's Light Lance in the rear end. As a result, it forced the rest of Mercstar's mechs to kind of come down from Starport, lose their trading positions, and try to assist the light fight, from which, The fight
EMP is just
escalated.
like, oh, well, we're going to push if you're going to drop all that tonnage. But yeah, EMP, I'm over at the mat strap, by the way. EMP had kind of pretty typical setup, I'd say, for this map. There are heavier elements up in E5, mirroring the Mercstar heavies and trade elements up in E7. The lights kind of duck around Theta a little bit, but they got to get out of there lest the starport guys hit them too bad. And then there was a bit of a light. Seems pretty typical for this map. Unfortunately, Mercstar's lights kind of crumbled in that situation, forcing Mercstar to send some more help down there. They did manage to pick Magoat in his Vulcan, but by that point, EMP is like, oh, now the pressure's on. We got to push E7 with our main body. We can kill this Warhawk. We can kill the Annihilator that's up there. And we'll get to the Warhammer and Mad Cat eventually.
Exactly. And it was just a very slow, calculated push against Mercstar. And even still, though, credit to Mercstar, for a while that light fight was holding, although Selt was kind of trading by himself, but at the same time, the damage was being done, but it just wasn't enough. Charlemagne making a nice flank. Right as I say, where is he? He gets the kill. Shows what I know.
Yeah, he's always out there to prove you wrong. 5 lights got to stick together, man. But yeah, so I wonder what we'll see. What we'll see this next time. I believe has EMP used all their blood asps? I'm not sure. Still got some Mad Cats on the table, I think, for both teams. Sometimes you see ER large mechs on this map. I don't know. But I think I'd like to see from MS, maybe try and get a streak mech to Kappa or something like that. Try and catch the EMP lights out, play a little bit of rock, paper, scissors with loadouts. And I think you're going to have to do something sneaky if you're a Div B team that wants to take down Imperial or any other Div A team for that matter. But that being said, they did really well on that caustic map, so it's definitely within their ability.
I mean, I'm waiting. I can't wait to see this drop now. Like, let's see what happens.
Yeah, this is, I think, I'm going to hesitate, but say that I think this is the closest NA Div A versus B team match that we've seen so far. Mercstar doing some very solid piloting.
Mercstar almost took off the drop against Imperial in drop 3, so that's just something you gotta watch out for. Like, who knows what they can do at this point. Although it definitely looks like Imperial's finding their groove. This might be their new favorite map, since we saw that Imperial kind of was winning the drops back against Black Omen, kind of taking the matches back in drop 5, even though they lost drop 4 against Black Omen. And now it looks like they're kind of finding their groove back against Mercstar on River City. And I can understand why. It's a strong map. It's a vet favorite. And it's a lot of fun to play, in all honesty.
Maybe for you. I don't know. I don't like this map in comp at all. I probably just am bad at it, though.
Well, it could be a difference of perspective. Light fights in this map are hilariously fun. Meanwhile, you were the assault, so you just kind of had to lumber around.
Yeah. Well, assault and mostly heavy, but yeah, you're right. All right, so let's see. Over on Imperial, we got 2 Wolfhounds and a Flea for their Light Lance, Imminent, and a Hunchback 2C. I'd wager probably Ultra 20s, maybe?
I'm going to spoil it for you now. Daka, and lasers on the side of Mercstar, and I would gamble to say that it's probably pretty similar on EMP's side, with the exception of Crimson Helix bringing his SRM-6 Arctic Wolf, I'm guessing to bolster the Light Lance, which is something that they definitely need. Kamichiwa, Drew the Blue, all bringing Daka. Pyth bringing a Basakura Daka. And let's see what's over on Imp. Let's see if they're also bringing the Daka. I'm willing to bet they are. Imminent. 4 Ultra AC2s on his Hunchback 2CA. Daka confirmed. Reckless Ultra AC5s, Ultra AC10s on his Mad Cat Mark 2B. Rick Rom Ultra AC5s, Ultra AC10s on his Blood Ass Bay. Mighty Ramp 5 Ultra AC2s on his Sun Spider. So once again, Daka v Daka is going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, MS sending their kind of late fast brawl deck or brawl mechs over to Kappa through the water on the far side of the map. They've got what is in the Arctic Wolf? Can you tell me?
The Arctic Wolf is SRMs. I did say that. Did you not hear me?
No, I didn't pay attention. I'm just awful.
No, it's okay.
But they've been scouted. McGoat sees them coming, and they're taking a bit of fire from him and his hunchback, but they make it across to the rocks without, a ton of damage. Not great, though.
Damocles 1 currently down to 85%. Charlemagne down 84 as that light fight looks like it's starting to heat up a little bit on that side of Epsilon. What's going on there?
The MS mechs are kind of stuck in these rocks. I believe it's a 4v4 even fight. Imminent and his hunchback getting some good shots from the back. Heigl, I don't know, he's stuck in the buildings alone with his Vulcan now. And this is really awkward because neither team's in that like great range except for Imminent. And Heigl about to get jumped by Selith in his flea. Selith kind of working the very inside of these buildings, and Heigl's basically alone right now. Mighty Rant has come down in his Sun Spider too to put some DACA on these light mechs for MS, and MS does flip the Kappa cap.
MS, yep, that's probably the biggest victory they have right now, but at the end it's still a 2-2 cap favoring Imperial, and the Lights have now received assistance from Mighty Rant in his Sun Spider, and it looks like that the rest of the main body from Mercstar is moving off their area of Upper City and attacking the 3 heavy mechs over on Imperial Starport. Reckless eating a lot of damage, 70%. It's not looking good for him. Meanwhile, Crimson Helix and his Arctic Wolf also not looking good. Heigl, same time, and it looks like the light mechs are going to take
Oh no!
Cells is taking down Charlemagne. Cell takes down Heigl, and Crimson Helix over AIDS. What is this? Oh my goodness. Another kill for Imperial, down 3 mechs. Oh boy, here we go. Kamichi off 53%, but at the same time, Rick Rom, Radic, 67 for Rick Rom, 81 for 77 for Radic. What is this? Is it going to be another upset? Radic kills Kamichiwa. Oh my goodness, the percentages are not favoring Imperial right now. This heavy push at the tears looks like it's going to win. Radic gets killed in his Mauler. Imminent kills Prototellus. But the mechs are even 4v4. Is it going to be another attempt at an upset? Rick Rom almost dead as Bazakura. Pike brings him down. Pike needs to hide, and Drew the Blue needs to watch out. That heavy lance over at Starport gets neutralized. Imminent takes down Xavier, though, and right now it is the Wolfhound, the Sun Spider, and the Hunchback. Imminent, Mighty Rand, McGoat versus Drew the Blue, Damocles 1, and Pyth. Oh my goodness, but this is actually much favorable to Imperial, and I have to tell you why.
Yeah, McGoat's got a cap like his life depends on it, and he's probably going to spend the rest of his time just going Sigma, Epsi, back up to Gamma maybe. And meanwhile, the Sun Spider, I guess trying to get some eyes on the assaults of MS, maybe pick a kill or two. Pyth is very hurt, I know. He took a lot of damage from Rick Rom at the end. I'm not sure about Damocles and Drew, though. They look pretty fresh based on the numbers. And I'm not sure what Imminent really wants to do here. He's not a super fast mech, but maybe, I don't know, was he better off capping or trying to help out his Sun Spider friend? Who knows?
I think right now they just need to cap, because it seems like that the percentages don't exactly favor Mercstar. It's a very slow lance that needs to stick together. They could try and hold Star Tower, but it looks like that's not going to favor them greatly, because from Star Tower you really can't cover Sigma and Epsilon. So sure, they can cover Theta, put some coverage on Gamma, but they also can't cover Kappa. There's nowhere that these heavies and this heavy lance can go to cover the points they need to cover in order to get the win. Imminent also taking some decent trades in this Hunchback 2C, putting down the UAC 8 Hunchback to try and get some damage out, but it looks like it's just not happening.
Oh, quad UAC 2. Self special, as Ando likes to call it.
Well, Self was the one that started it. I thought I read that mech out too. Are you sure that
you did.
Okay.
I just don't pay attention.
Fair enough.
A lot to keep track of. Damocles looks like he's going to be grabbing Kappa. But Mighty Rant in his Sun Spider kind of wading way out in water, taking a lot of damage though. It did go down.
Definitely. And it just looks like right now that the march is on. The Mercstar Heavy Lance is trying to move, but Mighty Rant gets killed by Pyth! Pyth, the sacrificial lamb, to try and make sure that the cap game still goes smoothly. Imperial's got a 4 cap, 500 points. All they have to do is hold on for, I would say, but the 2 cap switching, Kappa is going to drop. So they're earning 3 points a second right now. So that means 200 points, 210 points. They need to hold out for, I would say, like, at least a minute or so. And they need to make sure that these points are held if they want to win this. Imminence, however, down 70%. Magoat is once again going to have to be the MVP of this match.
Yeah, Magoat just busy capping. There's nothing Mercstar can really do. They're maybe going to try and kill Imminent here, but he's even going to be hard to catch in these two slow assaults. Or, no, two slow assaults and the one Warhammer. The Warhammer maybe needs to split off. I'm not really sure. Oh, Imminent taking another good hit from the Blood Asp.
I mean, right now, it doesn't look like Mercstar is going to be able to win since their heavier mechs just can't really get anything done. Even if they try and get a 3-cap, it looks like Imperial could win by default, but Mercstar might have enough points in order to turn this. I'm not sure. It's going to be close.
I believe they'll need a 4-cap at least at this point, which looks very unlikely. Drew the Blue even getting struck on Data to try and stop the cap.
Damocles is trying to march up to kill Magoat, it looks like. We're going to see how that goes. Magoat is still pretty healthy, and the Wolfhound's a fine brawling mech.
Looks like Imminent goes down too. Pyth takes him out. Pyth is now on Gamma. This is closer than I would have thought.
Protocell is saying DC on Selith.
That was a while ago. I'm not sure if we ever received confirmation. They may have thought he got DC'd. Damocles, Magoat's got to be careful here. That 6R with those dual gas can pretty easily kill a light mech if Magoat's not very careful.
But at the same time, Imperial still got the cap advantage, 680, so that's, I want to say 70 points. At a 2-tick spread, they just have to hold on for 35 more seconds.
Yeah, they probably need to kill Magoat and take a cap point. Magoat might try and kill Pyth here. He's awfully close. Do they know each other are there?
I don't think so.
No, they walk past here. Ships in the night.
And right now it looks like Pyth is just going to try and go to Epsilon with Damocles heading over to Gamma. Magoat masterfully maneuvering around the map along with Imminent. Imminent, however, looks like he's too weak to fight. It's pretty much all on Magoat at this point.
Oh, it is all on Magoat. He's all by himself. But yeah, Pyth turning around. I'm not. Oh dear.
And it looks like, though, that the match is going to go to Imperial. So long as they maintain the 2-cap, they really can't lose. 730, that's 10 seconds left at a 2-tick spread.
Yeah. Sigma's too heavily capped. Unless Pyth, or maybe if he gets like a one-shot kill on Magoat here. Oh, he almost did it.
Almost did it, but almost is only good for horseshoes and hand grenades. Magoat's running away.
Yeah, and Sigma's way too capped for this to ever go in MS's favor. Magoat, stick around, get some extra damage, maybe get killed. Not quite.
Not get killed. Match is over before that happens. What an incredible match! Look at this. Imperial taking a 5-0 from Mercstar, but my goodness, you wouldn't guess that.
Yeah, very good showing from Mercstar. Best showing I think we've had from one of these Div A versus Div B teams. MS definitely going to be top contenders for their division, I think, and maybe contenders for being bumped up next season.
And it's incredible to see that because Mercstar was essentially a unit that was kind of in shambles for a very long time. After Antonius Rex, who was the original founder of Mercstar, trying to transform and create kind of this big-time unit. Hold on a second. Trying to create this big-time unit to bring everyone together, and then essentially it falling apart. This is kind of the rebuild of that unit that was so.
They've done a good job, man. Done a great job of rebuilding MS for sure. Definitely showing they deserve their position in their div. And
it kind of used to be evil in that respect, where it was just it just came down to essentially a couple of people trying to rebuild. They were doing some CW, they were getting some victories there, but now it looks like Mercstar is actually becoming a pretty big factor. That was an incredible game.
Yep, for sure. And before we do our map strat thing, we've got 2 more giveaways to go. First, I'm going to give away a mech bay.
Do it.
All right, we're not deafening people this time. Yay. And let's see, I don't know if you're in contact with the teams, but we'll see if we can get an interview going.
I do not think that there will be an interview.
Okay.
Self said he will try and get someone to do the interview, but I don't know if he's actually going to have anyone that has to do the interview. But it looks like McGoat's in the casting.
Okay, I'll hop over to Discord then in a second.
Mhm.
All right, Grubby 1983. Please whisper either Saruman, myself, if you know my username is TOAST3R, or one of the admins in chat, and we'll do our best to get you that code for that mech bay. But now we'll just load again, just to check. But now we're gonna give away a code for MC. I'm not sure how much it is. I believe it's either 500 or 1,000, but who knows? You'll have to find out yourself. Carl Vickers, congratulations. I recognize your username, but I don't remember who you play for. But please whisper me or Saruman or poke us in Discord or something, and we'll get you that code. Hello, hello.
Yes, is that it for the giveaways?
That is it for the giveaways. I'm in the casting room. I will see you there, sir.
Excellent.
Hello, Magoat. How are you?
Waiting on Konnichiwa.
Dude, that last drop, my nerves are like up. That's how I am.
Hands shaking, palms sweaty?
Not quite that much, but definitely got the blood pumping.
For sure. Those are some good games. Some very close ones too. MS showing, putting on a very good showing. Unfortunately, didn't manage to pick a game, but I think if you're White Knight Legion, you got to take note of how well this MS team is performing. I think that's a match I'm really interested in seeing now. Tops of Div B playing each other.
Yeah, the top Div B matches will probably be the most exciting for the league, I think. Especially with like MS and Evil, like those guys are kind of like faction play rivals, so
Yeah.
that should be fun.
Saruman, you said Komichiwa is possibly coming from. Are we gonna have a Mercstar representative?
I don't know. We'll see. I'm tagging him now.
Okay. So first drop, we can go ahead and talk about it a little bit before MS gets here. But what'd you think about the King Crabs? Were you expecting a King Crab deck, McGoat?
I don't think anybody expects a King Crab deck.
Konnichiwa will be here soon.
But it was definitely kind of refreshing to see. I know that's kind of like their thing. It's kind of meme with king crabs and crabs. So I mean that was cool. Obviously, we are a little more familiar, I guess, with controlling that sector. So that when they balled up, our bigs were just able to just strike, and shoot. It was as you saw, I mean, I was fighting to just shoot my little bit of lasers to get anything in there, and Chimera obviously stealing all kinds of damage. It was pretty incredible.
Well, I'm gonna guess Chimera probably got both of his strikes in, but yeah,
hey
for
guys,
sure. Hello. Who is this? Who is it, serve again?
That is Konnichiwa.
Hello, Komichiwa. Great games. We already talked to McGoat a little bit, but great games on you guys. Great showing from MS. Definitely showing why you guys are like top front runners of Div B and A. Really excited to see some of your future matches. Talking about map 1, McGoat, sounded a little bit surprised to see your crabs. Why'd you bring them? Just kind of your guys' thing, maybe, or I don't know.
Well, to be honest, we just got out of Div C last season, and we're going up against EMP this season somehow. So that was just, a crowd pleaser deck that we threw together last season. We're like, how can we port this over into the new MOR? And that's what we went with.
Well, yeah, it was definitely, I think, maybe a learning experience, but it was good glad to see the crowd pleasers. King crabs are always fun. Don't see enough of them. They're such an iconic mech. But as far as drop 1 going, anything you want to say about that drop? Anything you maybe learned or would do differently next time?
Yeah, for starters, I wouldn't leave an Annihilator all by his lonesome against a Div A team that knows how to isolate mechs.
Okay, yeah. Definitely a
Yeah,
little weird seeing that, but
probably wouldn't bring King Crabs either, just because it's impossible to trade from Stargate with those low mounts.
yeah, that's definitely a very hard thing on most maps. Yeah, anyways, even regardless of that particular position. Anyways, going to drop 2. I want to talk about drop decks. EMP, you guys favored lasers a lot. I'm a little bit surprised. You want to talk about your reasoning behind that? Just you like lasers better than the LBX deck that Mercstar seemed to be favoring?
I mean, the lasers just seem to work a lot better for us, and we can almost pinpoint everything we're shooting. So, with an LBX, obviously it's good for crit seeking and that damage boost. But as you can see, when we were calling out targets, they were literally melting. So it works for us.
Okay. Kamichiwa, anything you have to say? It seemed like one of your guys might have got picked a little bit early and it was just maybe downhill from there.
Yeah, we definitely had some miscommunication. I know we thought we were going to be going up against a range deck, so that's why we were a little bit passive and ended up not working in our favor because we got out NASCAR by a Div A team, which I find ironic. But
Yeah, that's maybe a little funny, but live and learn, I guess.
True enough.
As far as drop 3, that was, I think, I don't know about you, Saruman. I'm not sure which was more exciting, that match or the final River City drop. But that was such a nail biter down to the wire. McGoat, what was going through your mind when you ate that strike in your mislinks?
I thought I was gonna die. I was like, "Holy shit, guys! I just lost half my weapons. This is awesome." But
somehow
for the
managed to
most part,
survive.
the guys, did what they do best and kind of pulled together. Hats off to MS for doing their bit. We called out those range night guys, early on, or I did because I was off jumping, from a hill trying to get eyes on where their main body was moving. But that was good on you guys, and obviously we have some improves to take away from that as well.
What was it like? What did you see that like made you kind of start your push? Was it just mech health levels? You guys deciding you had to do something? Was there something you saw? Kind of what was your reasoning behind that timing?
Honestly, I think we felt that their main body was a little bit closer, and counting out at least a minimum 2 mechs that were not going to be able to support them in our heads. It was like, okay, well, they're down 2 mechs. We have the numbers.
Okay. And so Kamichiwa, like you guys had a great starting position, right? You had those high placed night gears. Who was it in the Warhammer that was doing work all night? What were your kind of thoughts going into that match? Did you plan to do a range deck off the bat, or did you see the EMP Brawl deck the first match and decide maybe you could do something like that after the fact?
Yeah, that was Damocles in the Warhammer. That was a freaking fantastic showing by him. He almost managed to pull it off, which against EMP, that's no small feat. Yeah, we definitely plan to bring a range deck into that. We've been practicing one range and one brawl, and surprisingly, coming from a Div C team, the range deck was a little bit more effective. So I guess I don't know. I'll take that. We definitely had some issues where we're missing some shots that we should be hitting, and I mean our positioning we were a little bit too close, so strikes were more effective. There's a lot of things we got to work on, but I'll take what is it, 5 kills that drop?
Yeah. What were comms like at the end when you just had the one flea left against 3 EMP mech?
Oh goodness, we're just telling everybody to shut up and let him play.
Uh, Yeah, I understand that. A lot of times, got a lot of good players, maybe giving good advice, but sometimes you just gotta let them do their thing.
Oh, real quick. So the flea player Prototellus has told me that I need to tell you how to pronounce his name. So
Prototellus?
yeah,
Okay.
that apparently is really triggering him, and
Well, I'm sorry,
that's
Prototellus.
I'm definitely blaming that on why he didn't clutch that match. No, I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
All right, so last map, River City. I guess I want to talk a little bit about the ban. Are both of you guys just kind of happy with River City? Happy with kind of the meta of that map, or maybe reasoning why either of you kind of chose that map, or is it just kind of there were other maps you didn't want to play, and that's what ended up getting picked?
Oh, for us, our light play is definitely weaker. You know, we're going up against some of the best light pilots in the world, and I don't take that lightly. So when we go play frickin' Alpine, which was our other option, that's a really light dependent map. You know, most matches can come down to caps on that map. So we decided to go with a little bit more of a closer range map where our assaults can be a little bit more effective, which ended up, you know, in drop 5, it helped a lot that our assaults could maneuver around the map in time to be able to get kills, but our light play was a lot weaker, which hurt us in the long run. We definitely need to be doing unit wide light practices, especially if we're going to be going up against fantastic pilots such as EMP.
Okay, Mago, you have any thoughts on the map banning? Just kind of you guys like River City, maybe, or
River City's pretty fun. I mean, you have a couple different options you can play there. You can do range, you can do brawl, you can do, hybrid. So it's obviously Alpine would have been a lot of fun, but River City's good too.
okay. So
Also, I'll add to that. Um, don't ever take EMP to Alpine. That's just a solid advice that I want to stick by in my life because there's no way I want to go up against those guys in ER large lasers.
okay, fair enough.
You guys are fantastic shots, so that's a challenge right there.
All right, so going to drop 4. It seemed like maybe some of the MS lights got picked a little bit early. Um, and Mago, like, what was the call just when you saw those lights get picked to push across water? Like, what your assaults? They eventually pushed all the way up to Starport onto Kamichiwa and the Annihilator. Kind of, what was your why'd you go when you did? What were your lights saying? Kind of, what was going on in your heads?
For 4 or 5, just to
For
clarify.
4, for 4. Where you guys had Upper City and not Starport.
So when I initially pushed up, I mean, it was just a call by Salif that we needed to move up to take the light legs. So I moved up and I tanked what I could, and we ended up just kind of. I could have done a little bit better there, and we had a little bit of a chat afterwards in general for the lights, about kind of dancing around that section of the city instead of like poking, which is where I think Damocles scored a killing blow on me, which was a great shot. It was like in between like the lower portion of 2 buildings. It was really the focus for us at that point was just to leg the lights and kill them.
Okay. Did you when your assaults pushed across? Was it because you like saw the Mad Cat moving down in the Warhammer, or did they just move across kind of their own volition? That's my main.
It was called for. It was
Okay.
I want to say Reckless identified it, and then it was called.
Okay. Kamichiwa, your thoughts on that match? You're trying desperately to trade with that Warhawk and the Hunchback, and I thought you were doing an okay job. It just maybe you were outgunned. Kind of what was going through your heads while you were in Upper City? What'd you think when those first 2 lights got killed?
Well, I was definitely smacking around that other Warhawk, but I did overextend a little bit towards the end, which cost me my life. Towards the beginning of the match, I don't know. I think the main strat you see from Team 2 on River City is kind of like a clamp strat where you send your lights right side and your assaults left side, and you kind of just close in. And anytime you lose one of those sides as Team 1, you start to lose the match. And I think it happened again in Drop 5 where we did basically the same thing.
It was, yeah, basically the same thing, but opposite sides. We can go into that one.
Yeah,
But Goat,
but
it seemed
just
like. Go ahead.
for drop 4, I'll say like definitely again we lost our light game a little bit earlier, and so our trade game suffered from that. And I think to go off that, if we had won the light fight, I think that would have been an entirely different match. Same for the starport push. That was a good push, and I think we definitely could have kited that a lot more. So
Yeah.
They just did a fantastic job closing it around us.
Yeah, you said you talked about Alpine being a very light dependent map. I'm not a light player myself, but I know Saruman was kind of talking about how fun River City is as lights. I would argue that River City is as much of a light dependent map as Alpine is, maybe in different ways, but
Yeah, I definitely learned that in drop 5. Thanks, my
so
goat.
so Magoat, what was going through your head? You know, it came down to the wire that very last game, right? Just you, the Sun Spider, and the Hunchback. Kind of, you just like saw that it was just like 3v3 and you're full on cap mode. What were comms like?
Yeah, it was essentially. I want to say. I don't know. We were somewhere, Golf 7 somewhere, and Selith was like, "Holy shit, we need to start going for caps." So I took off towards Sigma. I just made the rounds, and then by the time I was up to Gamma, things weren't looking quite as pretty.
Yeah, it was definitely, I think, closer even than I thought it would be. I'd say it seemed like you guys had the advantage just having a light, but Kamichio, anything you would do differently that drop? It was incredibly close. Very well played. It's like you guys basically, it seemed, took EMP's strat from the previous match and kind of executed it yourselves.
Yeah, I pretty much stole that strat from their match against Black Omen last week. But I think we definitely should have recognized caps a lot sooner and spread out. Even when the Hunchback was still alive, it's a Hunchback against Warhammer was the lightest mech we have. So I think if we had spread out a little bit sooner, we probably could have won that. And then there's a couple shots we missed towards the end of the match that were just really costly.
Yeah, I'll say when I was running up on Theta, just to kind of stop the cap after I was finished with Gamma. Damocles missed me, and that's the only reason why I knew he was coming up from Fox 7. I heard the Gauss round, and I was like, oh no.
He's kicking himself for that. I'm trying to tell him, dude, it's all right. We
Yeah,
we just outfragged EMP
I
as
will
a Div
say,
B team, so I'll take.
power to Damocles. He did excellently in that Warhammer. Um, so I don't know, that kind of answers all my questions. I'm gonna let, I guess, Kamichiwa go first. Do you have any final words to say? You want to call out White Knight Legion, tell him you're coming for him, or
Oh, I already messaged Mr. Summerall this week. I said, "Swiggity switty, we're coming for that booty."
oh,
So,
okay. Mago, you have anything to say?
Great job, MS. Like that was definitely not what we expected. So kudos, guys.
All
thanks,
right.
man.
Thanks for being interviewed, guys. Appreciate it. Go get some sleep.
Yeah,
And
good game, guys. Good interview.
Oh my gosh, you were
There he
really
is.
Wow,
I've been
he is
waiting. I've
so
been
loud.
waiting the entire time for Saruman to come on and give us the DL.
just waiting for him to trash talk my unit some more.
Oh, Saruman's a little tired.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I can't wait to go back and watch the stream and listen to Saruman.
I can't wait for you guys to
absolutely
play Evil. That's going to be the fun one.
Yeah, keep us posted. No, I'm gonna maybe try and snag a couple of those matches for me and Saruman. But anyways, I'll see you guys later. Saruman, have any final words?
No.
No. Okay.
All right. Good night, guys. Thanks.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching the cast. Hope you had a good time. I'm hearing I had a little bit robot issue sound problems. I will try and get those taken care of. But nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed the MechWarrior action. Had some great matches tonight, both in this game and SA versus 228 Death from Above. And stay tuned. There are a bunch of matches coming up this weekend. We got Black Omen versus 228's Blackwatch. Tomorrow night, I know Saruman and I are going to be casting RJF versus PHL on Sunday. And they're even more than that. I can't even remember them all off the top of my head. Go check out the upcoming matches page on Tournament, and we'll see you next time.